Well, it is a big week for the economy. Tomorrow, consumer confidence numbers will be released. Then Wednesday, the Federal Reserve will make a decision on just how much to raise interest rates. Thursday, the gross domestic price numbers for the second quarter will drop. And then Friday, the consumer price inflation numbers come out. But even before then, inflation already impacting some of Wall Street's major players. This just in, Walmart cutting its profit expectations. The company's CEO blaming food and fuel inflation. That is just coming in. Now, joining us now is Kristen Myers, editor-in-chief at The Balance. Kristen, thanks for being with us. We want to start with this breaking Walmart news. This announcement led to shares dropping about 8% after hours. So what does it mean for a company to cut its profit expectations? And then let's go on to the bigger picture. How does that impact Walmart shoppers?
Yeah, so essentially when Walmart or any other company comes out with their quarterly earnings, they're not just reporting how they did in the previous quarter, because of course, these earnings are always backwards looking, but sometimes they'll actually give guidance and really let investors know what they can expect for the next couple of quarters coming up. And for Walmart, it is one of the first retailers to actually start to report. They've said, frankly, that inflation is impacting their bottom line. And as we're seeing, consumers are going in and they are still spending, but they're spending on those items with lower margins. So mainly groceries, things like the necessities, and they're staying away from those items that Walmart, of course, would prefer that we buy because they make more profit on them. Items like a television, for example, or other electronics. And I think that this is a story that we might hear not just from Walmart, but from some of the other retailers. Target also impacted in the after hours as a result of this quarterly earnings from Walmart. And we're probably going to hear other retailers start to say some of the same. Inflation is impacting all of us, and consumers are starting to change their spending habits as a result.
Well, Kristen, I do want to talk about consumer spending habits, but first, let's talk about inflation. Let's talk about these interest rates. We know the Fed is expected to raise them yet again on Wednesday. That would be the fourth time this year. Talk about, is that common? Is this rare? And will this at any point start to help contain inflation?
Well, I wouldn't exactly say that this is common, but we're in somewhat of uncommon times right now, frankly. Just for context, last month, the Federal Reserve actually hiked interest rates 75 basis points, and that was the most aggressive. That was the biggest rate hike that the central bank has made since 1994. So that should just give everyone a little bit of a clue here how much they are really trying to rein in inflation. And really the main way that the Federal Reserve brings down inflation is by raising those interest rates. It essentially really takes the heat off the economy, really slams the brakes on the U.S. economy, and really forces Americans to stop spending as much and really to focus on some of those necessities. So you're probably going to start seeing prices come down. Walmart said it, for example, today. They're going to have to start giving deals and markdowns on some of the inventory that Americans didn't want to buy. And a move like that is actually exactly what the central bank wants. And hopefully that inflation goes from 9.1% that we saw in June down into the 8s, into the 7s, into the 6s, and eventually to the Fed's target number, which is actually 2% inflation rate. Again, we're at 9.1%, so we have a long way to go.
Oh, yeah, okay. A long way to go there. So, Kristen, we're talking about inflation. Let's talk about a possible recession. It's something we've talked to you about a lot. We know now 44% of adults are not financially prepared for a recession. We know a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. Also, some new data from the University of Massachusetts showing over half of older American women who live alone don't have enough income to afford their essential expenses. So why would a recession hit the older population harder?
So interestingly enough, that stat about the older Americans and particularly older women really struggling financially, I think really just puts a fine point on how much it costs to age in the United States, especially as we are dealing with inflation and a lot of older Americans actually on fixed income. So if you are an older American and you're on retirement, you can't do what some of the rest of us might be able to do, right? Which is go and negotiate perhaps a raise or a promotion, or frankly, just get a new job that might get you some more money. Older Americans have less ability to do that. However, when it comes to recessions, some ways, retired folks and older folks are actually in a better position. And I'll tell you why. It's because when there is a recession, a lot of folks are worried about losing their jobs, losing their income streams. And that's actually something that older Americans typically don't have to worry about. They also typically don't have to worry about paying their mortgage because they already own their home outright. What is really going to be a problem for older Americans if we continue to see inflation rise, and if during a recession, their retirement savings that might be in investment accounts, if the markets really start to tank, they're going to have less and less money really that they're going to be able to use to pay for some of those basic necessities, pay for their taxes, for example, or those HOA fees. And that's really where older Americans are going to get hit hard.
Yeah, and we really hate to see, our older Americans suffering there. Okay, Kristen, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.